So moving on into the programming. So here's the starting screen of the program, which you'll use to program the timer remotes. This is actually the only screen, and as we look at it, it's really simple. It's just broken down into 6 different boxes. On this screen, you'll see the 6 different event settings. On the bottom of the window, you'll see the time on your computer. This time will reload into your remotes. So if it's not the correct time for the remotes, set the time override checkbox down there on the bottom. When you plug in a transmitter, the buttons for retrieve and apply will become active, as you'll see on one of the next slides. And instead of saying device not connected, it will change the terminology there. The button for remote, that's an interesting checkbox that we have there, because some people may not be able to reach all of the shades that they will want using a single remote. This is due to a range restriction put on this type of a device by the FCC. So as a solution, we, for now, are including 2 of these transmitters when you order 1. So you just program both, mark that checkbox, and place them in different positions in the job site. And let me just comment that this is expected to be available in a couple of weeks. Let's go forward into more about the programming here. This is actually, as I said, a very simple program. It's going to take me more time to talk about it now than it would take you to set up an actual remote in many cases. So on this screen, I selected to make an event trigger based on the time of day. Don't worry about daylight savings times because the remote is smart and will automatically adjust for those. So you can see up there I selected user defined because it's going to be a user defined action, and you'll see why that's important of the week to check and what you want that action to be. On the next slide you'll see a little bit more about what that means. So on this slide we're talking about, I'm starting to select event number 2. On this one I'm showing that I have the ability to set the events based on sunrise or sunset. Will load up with all the times for these automatically. So you don't have to program into very far in advance because the remote control is going to learn those. And you can adjust the transmitter to send any action either up, down, or to one of the intermediate positions as on your remote controls. And the shades will act at those times. If you want to raise the shades an hour before sunrise, here's how you're going to do it. Simply select sunrise, select open, and then 60 minus, which will go before sunrise. And then you choose what days of the week you want that to do. As you can see, I checked the days for this action to be on Sunday and Wednesday, but because I did not enter the zip code, the event is not ready, and you'll see on one of the next slides, on the next slide actually, what it means to be ready. So let's look at the next one there. Now this one here, I put in the zip code and I selected the days of the week. This one here is going to go up at sunrise, actually 30 minutes after sunrise, and it's going to raise on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. And I put in the zip code for Pensacola, 32514, and it automatically loads in the Pensacola city down below for confirmation, and it will set the correct times, the correct time zone, and all of the different sunrise sunsets that you're going to need to worry about. So at that point you'll see the checkbox next to the event, or I should say the big green check, showing that that's ready to go into the remote. And I also checked off down there to say that it's that I want to control with this. So once we're ready with this remote, we can go ahead and click apply, and it'll load those settings into the remote control. But let's go to the next one here and see. In this case, this is a remote that I fully populated with all kinds of information. So I have event 1 is set that it's going to go to preset 3, which is the 75% position on the transmitter, and it's only going to go Monday to Friday, and that's going to raise the shades at 8:20 in the morning. Event 2 is a similar setting. Event 3. Event 4, that's a sunrise, actually it's a sunset setting, intended to bring the shades down every day. And in this case I set the zip code to where I am in South Florida, so it'll know what the settings are for that location. If we look down on the screen, we can see that it actually estimates what the current sunrise sunset settings are for now. Don't worry that that's for now. It's not going to always be 7:25. I know that the sunrise sunsets change. That's just what it is on the day that you're setting up the transmitter. And on the right there you can see that the button for retrieve and apply are now available to be clicked, as it does also say programmable remote found just below that. So here's how we would use that. You do all of your settings the way you'd like them to be. You don't have to use all 6 events, but you certainly can. You set up all of those events that you'd like, and then your remote control plugged in, you click the apply button, and it will load the remote with those settings. It actually takes about a second for the loading of that transmitter's information. If you want to move that information onto another remote control, to have a second remote control with similar settings, you would simply plug in the first one, retrieve from the first one, and then plug in the second one and click apply. So it will keep adding those settings to the next remote as well. Now, and if you're going to need to make a change, so your customer has an issue that they made a mistake, they told you the wrong time, or while you're setting it up you made a mistake, simply make the changes that you want and click apply, and you're done. It's a very straightforward programming system. So Gordon, did anybody have anything that they'd like me to tap into, or have you answered?
No, I think you're doing fine. No questions on this segment, so you'll have plenty of time at the end of the session too, as a question may occur to you, back to this section at the end of the slides.
Okay. All right. So now let me see, my microphone thing is there. Okay, good. So our next device is the QConnect device, and one of the questions that we often hear from our customers is, can someone use QMotion Shades in a home automation system? Can they use it with Lutron, Crestron, Control4, any of those systems? Well, we're pleased to announce that in November we will begin offering our new QConnect device. This is a wireless bridge to existing automation systems. The device will connect via RS-232 serial connection. It will also have dry contact, so it will have additional control capability. It will act as a transmitter just like our regular handheld units, just without buttons. So in the case of this device, simply provide the programming instructions and wiring details to the installer or the integrator with the system, and they will put the device anywhere that the signal can reach our shades. The device is one way and can control as many as 16 shade groupings. So some of the questions that come up, this is, the device gets physically connected to the home automation system, and the wiring can run as far as it needs to go so that the signal will reach the shades that you wish to control, as many as 16 shades or 16 groups of shades. And it's a wireless transmitter, so it gets wired to the system. It needs an electrical supply to it, and it will transmit our RF signals to control our shades, bringing them to the appropriate positions that the home automator would like to have, or the consumer would like to have in that situation. So that's a pretty cool device that should help our clients be able to bring the beauty of QMotion control sophisticated systems.
Okay, Ben, thank you. We've got a couple of questions. The previous question relates back to the programmable timer remote. And the question is this only in single versus multi-remotes? The answer is yes. At this time, the timer remote function is only available on a single channel. We'll listen, we'll observe how things are going, and if there's a lot of demand for us to come back with the multi-channel, we can probably come back and do that as well. But at this time, it's only available in single channel.
Gordon, before you go to the next question, I would like to comment that at the price point of retail $88, this device should be very easy for people to implement a multi-unit installation if they'd like.
Good, fair call. All right, a couple more questions came in. Will this work for Lutron? And that's the question specifically relating to the QConnect. And the answer is yes. We are just actually doing our testing, but the plan for this QConnect is to work for Lutron, to work for Crestron, for really any of the other, I'll call it major or secondary home automation companies. And there's a follow-on question that comes with that as well. Do I need codes for QConnect? And yes, there will be some fairly simple programming that needs to go on within each of the systems. And we're just working out all the instruction details right now. So there will be published instruction details on how to do the programming. It'll also come with the QMotion the QConnect product as well. So yeah, this is going to require a little you know, I'll call it lightweight software programming capabilities to make the QConnect product work with the various home automation systems.
All right, so our next new product that we're offering here is the wall station adapter. Now, the wall station adapter is introduced as a solution for those customers who would like that recessed look with the transmitter in those situations where we're concerned about the transmitters disappearing from a project. So this adapter is built to allow the transmitter to be installed onto a standard junction box and to allow easy access to remove that front plate, which you would need to do in the case that you needed to change the batteries or do some other sort of a change with that transmitter. It's a simple thin plate attachment that would allow our products to match up with the screw plates on that standard junction box. Just a real simple little addition and something just to facilitate that need. So I'm pleased to announce that effective immediately, we've expanded our selection on the e-screens and added to our standard line of in-stock, immediately available fabrics. And we now offer in our range of 5 colors the 5 and 10% e-screen in addition to the 1% and 3% e-screen. Unfortunately, Mermet only inventories the 1% and 3% in the colors white, white linen, charcoal, and charcoal bronze. The white pearl is not available in 1% and 3% as it is in the 5% and 10%. These fabrics are available immediately, as we already have stocked, and are priced in our price group B, as you'll see in the new product guide. In this chart here that you're looking at, this information is in our new and current product guide, showing the colors that are available. In the case of that top left box, you can see the e-screen 1% is showing 4 colors, and the 3% showing an additional 4 colors. Now, please continue to use your existing sample books to show these colors alongside with this new information with respect to the products. There are some slightly different technical details for these fabrics, but the colors of them are pretty much the same as what you have in those samples for the 5%. It's just that they're now available in 3% and 1% to give better, or I should say, stronger light control. In addition to our standard fabrics offering, we're pleased to introduce the QMotion Special Order and COM programs. We've heard from those who have said that a customer loves a particular fabric and loves our automation system, but if the two can mix, we're stuck. So to answer this, we now offer 2 new fabric options. The first is COM. In COM, you can order nearly any fabric your customer may wish, as long as it is appropriate to use in roller shades. One of the steps we may need to take is to qualify the fabric prior to accepting your order. If it is a new fabric for us, we will need to ask for a test sample and a charge of $50 qualification fee prior to approving the fabric and accepting the order. We will need to check its weight, how it rolls onto the tube, and how it attaches. The COM products will be billed at price group A in the price charts, and you'll need to supply the fabric at your cost and have it shipped to Pensacola for processing. If the order is for 3 or more shades, we will refund the $50 qualification fee. Please appropriate quality, and it's inspected before shipping it to us, as we will not do additional inspections for defects in the material. In the same vein as the COM program, we're also pleased to introduce the QMotion Special Order program, where the COM program requires you to supply the fabric to us. Under the Special Order program, we source the fabric from additional fabric suppliers like Pfeiffer or Vertilux, or perhaps some material from Mermet that we don't carry. These will have a longer lead time and will be subject to certain surcharges to cover the added cost of servicing non-standard fabric. Rather than try and describe all of the nuances of this program, we would just encourage you to call your customer care representative and we will explain the options.